The American President Joe Biden has promised further military aid for Ukraine worth £415 million during his visit to Kyiv ahead of the first anniversary of the war.
It comes as former Prime Ministers Liz Truss and Boris Johnson call for the UK to send jets to Ukraine. Well, we're joined now by the former Senior Military Intelligence Officer, Philip Ingram. Very good morning to you. First of all, just reflecting on the fact that President Biden made it to Kyiv. We knew he was heading to Poland. There was lots of speculation, will he, won't he? And goodness me, the security that must have been involved for that to happen.
Massive security effort to get in there. You know, I'm shocked that he managed to get in and get out and look so natural strolling through the streets of Kyiv, because what was going on in the background, the planning for it and all the rest of it would have been unprecedented when it comes to even beyond the usual security standards that we see with posters flying around the world.
Yeah, I mean, I'm aware of the security protocols that come into play, Philip, through Bill Clinton's various visits to Northern Ireland. And I, as a reporter, I had to be with the president, and I had to also work closely with the CIA to the degree that I was tackled by the CIA at one stage, but that's a whole other story. But the security, the drains that they search, everything. And looking at Biden, who mostly doesn't look as if he knows where he is, but there he was in the middle of a war zone yesterday. Absolutely incredible that he could be there, the leader of the free world.
And showing real solidarity with President Zelensky. And Zelensky's actually been right up to the front line to his own troops there, whereas Vladimir Putin is increasingly hiding away in corridors of Moscow where people aren't seeing him. It's showing two completely different leadership styles, and it's sending a very clear message, not just to Vladimir Putin, but the Russian people and to the rest of the world. Of course, we had the Munich Security Conference at the end of last week, and after that, the US Secretary of State Blinken turning around and making very strong comments to China about warning them not to supply military material to Moscow. The pressure is being put on Moscow.
Yeah, and that being said, do you think that adds weight to Liz Truss and Boris Johnson's calls for these jets to be sent to Ukraine? Because, you know, I'm seeing more and more mention in the papers of, are we on the brink of World War III? And if we are, then let's send the jets.
Well, sending the jets, it's a great soundbite. It's actually really quite difficult to do because, you know, even if you take an experienced US pilot who's been flying fighter jets for a long time, and I read this from an F-16 trainer because we keep hearing about the F-16s. It takes a number of weeks to convert that pilot from the normal aircraft fighter jet that they fly onto F-16s, and then it takes a minimum of 69 days back to back, that's with no breaks, no weekends, nothing, to learn how to fight that jet. And that's just to fight it as a wingman level, not to be really experienced and all the rest of it. And the real difficulty is the Ukrainians have to put their most experienced pilots out in the jets. If you put most experienced pilots in a jet that they don't quite know how to fight properly because they haven't got that experience, and then put them onto the front line, there's a greater chance you're going to lose them. So the jet thing sounds really simple. Just give them kit and they'll fly it. It's really, really complex indeed. So it's great that politicians make these sound bites, but it's been weighed up very, very carefully indeed. And I think Rishi Sunak said that the UK would support other countries giving jets to Ukraine, first of all, whilst we then continue to train the Ukrainian pilots. And that would be, you know, an indication that the MiG-29s that some countries have got, former Soviet jets that the Ukrainians know how to fly and know how to fight, would be the natural first step. But we're talking of a good 4 to 6 months before Ukrainian pilots would be ready for any Western jets.
Long after the first anniversary, and each side, I mean, particularly the Russians, very keen to make it look as though they've made strides within that year. So are you expecting an upping in the onslaught from the Russians?
Well, I think Vladimir Putin's making his State of the Nation speech today, and he will be trying to spin some form of success, but at the same time trying to spin the fact that this isn't now just a Russian conflict against the Ukrainians, it's a Russian conflict against the whole of the West, and trying to do that to justify further expenditure on military material, further call-up of personnel, and to try and get the Russian people to dig deep in the resolve. He's got an uphill struggle, and there's a lot of political manoeuvring going on the flanks at the minute. I think Putin's in trouble.
OK, Philip Ingram, we have to leave it there. I really appreciate your take. Former senior military intelligence officer, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.